I'm good. Anybody spot who this is? Wait. I only have the one. Yeah, I told him, yeah. You booked some more shows for the summer. Yeah, we're getting booked up. We're going to Texas this week, No Name, and then there's things up after it. I don't know, some may cancel, some may not. But then, yeah, the summer is pretty booked solid at this point. On through the fall, like May through October. And so hopefully by the end of this fall, there's going to be a video where you come on American Gothic Restoration, and that video is going to open, and there's going to be people all over the roof, and there's going to be a new roof on this church, and I see it. That's what it's got to happen by the end of next year. So that's my goal, and yeah, I'm gonna try to I'm beetling for the roof. We're building the rooftop for the Beatles. You know what I mean? The Beatles for the roof for the Beatles. Something like that. I'm all in.
Oh, that looks wicked.
Yeah, right? Hell yeah, No Name. Shout out Stalls Blues. He's out there rolling.
Really the main story of how I was delivered from the gates of hell. And but I want to tell you just from the beginning, I grew up in church. I grew up with both parents in the home. I have 3 other siblings, and we were always at church, and I grew up that way, just always at church. I asked Jesus in my heart when I was 6 years old. And as I was going through being in school and stuff, I was very athletic. I got really good grades. I had a really bright future. Something happened to me though when I was 6 years old. I was in
What's up guys, Robbie here. If you want to learn how to make $1,000 a day online in 2021, then I want to show you exactly.
Molest me and stuff while they're recessed on the playground. And that seemed to affect me so much more than I realized. I thought, as a kid you can just get over it, but as an adult it was kind of like, as I started getting older, I started getting not realizing, but I was terrified of men. And I started having like attraction. Hi, my name is Lisa Sharkey. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself just before I tell you really the main story of how I was delivered from the gates of hell. And but I want to tell you just from the beginning. I grew up in church. I grew up with both parents in the home. I have 3 other siblings, and we were always at church. And I grew up that way, just always at church. I asked Jesus in my heart when I was 6 years old, and As I was going through being in school and stuff, I was very athletic. I got really good grades. I had a really bright future. Something happened to me though when I was 6 years old. I was at school and I had some boys take advantage of me and molest me and stuff while I was at recess on the playground. And that seemed to affect me so much more than I realized. I thought, you know, as a kid you can just get over it, but when as an adult it was kind of like, as I started getting older, I started getting so, not realizing, but I was terrified of men. Terrified of men. And I started having like attraction towards women. And because I'm just very, like, always been a very loving person, and I just always was searching for love. And so I started living my life, finding myself attracted to women. And as I went to college, I had a heartbreak, and I ended up moving to Missouri because I'm from Albuquerque. It was when I moved to Missouri is when I decided that I was never going to go to church again. I decided that I didn't want anything to do with religion anymore. And I said, Jesus, I'm not turning my back on you. I just hate Christians and I don't want anything to do with church. And I want to find my identity in the world. The homosexuality, being in the community whenever I was in it, and I'm speaking for myself, what I went through. It led me to alcohol because I loved going to the bars. At first it was fun and everything, but that's when the devil, you know, traps me. I just was so ashamed of who I was, and the Christians made it so much worse on the homosexuality community because they would flash signs while you're waiting in line, and FAGS, going to hell, and you know, just they were so brutal to us. It just grew. That the community I was in, we hated. I hated Christians. I didn't hate God, but I hated Christians because Christians were so judgmental. So it got to where alcohol was just not good enough. The more I started feeling, the more the guilt I was feeling. The alcohol wasn't strong enough, and as I was drinking too, bad things were happening. I have had numerous sexual assaults, being passed out, drunk. So then each time I was sexually assaulted, it was like, would lead me to drink more and more and more, and then alcohol wasn't enough. And so that's when I ended up I started drugs, started pills. I started like from Xanax, all these, it led to cocaine, it led to meth, eventually it led to heroin. So there was one night, and it was back in March in 2017, and I was with who I thought was my friend. It was drug buddy. She was a very bad heroin addict, and I was just dabbling into it, and she gave me a shot in my arm. It was that night when I like realized just how heavy I was, just how deep I was, just how dark I was, what a dark place it was that I was in. And it wasn't until after she did it, that all of a sudden I was woken up with water splashing on my face. I guess apparently I was on the kitchen floor. I woke up with her throwing water on me, and after she was slapping me, and I woke up and I just remember her like, "You're blue, you know," and I was like, "Oh my gosh," you know, and she's like, "You have to get out of here, get out of here," and so I said, I need an ambulance. No, you got to get out of here. So her and her friend tried to drag me down the street, and I said, I won't go. And I was trying to fight, until you call an ambulance, I won't go. And then I made sure that someone was on the phone with the ambulance. And then as they dragged my body down the worst street in Springfield, Missouri. They dumped my body like I was a bag of trash. Then they stripped me of everything that they wanted off of my body. It was then that I cried out and I said, Jesus, help me. And then all of a sudden, like, I closed my eyes. And it was like the dark, like all of a sudden I closed my eyes. All of a sudden my eyes got like really dark. It just like blacker than anything we've ever seen on Earth. All of a sudden I felt like I was just falling, and I felt like a little bit of a chill, and I was falling. I felt so fearful. It was so black you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. I am feeling it more. I'm feeling more scared than I've ever felt in my life. I just started falling and falling and falling into like darkness as it started to get hotter and hotter and hotter. And then all of a sudden, like, it was like I landed like a quicksand. All of a sudden I felt like my eyes like start adjusting, like when you're trying to wake up, except reality felt more real than I've ever felt in my life. So the first thing I did was I looked up, and when I looked up, I thought I was looking at a sky, but it was pure darkness, pure black. It literally hurt your senses. It felt like fiery darts, like literally coming in my eyes, fiery darts hitting all my senses, all my pores, every fiber of my being. Like, it literally hurt so bad just looking in the darkness. And when I landed, I started looking, and I was like, realized I was like in like a pit, like a cave. And it was like, this cave was just fear. That fear instantly was like no fear I've ever felt before. It was like there was no presence of God there. My whole life, I used to struggle with anxiety and panic attacks. The worst panic attack that I've ever had on earth, I would times it by 1,000,000,000, and it's constant. It's constant. It's constant. The fear is constant. The hopelessness, the feeling of, oh my gosh, you know that you're never, ever gonna get out. You are stuck. Like, you are never gonna get out. When I started focusing on where I was, and I felt like I was about 2 football fields away, and I still felt like an ant, to when I looked up and I saw black gates, which looked like they had been like on fire. So they were like a charcoal, and they were so, the evil. It's so hard to talk about. Talking about this experience is really hard because I've struggled with PTSD from it, and this is why I'm really speaking about it now, and I'm really trying to keep it together. It's really hard to explain it because you don't realize just how torturous it's just torture. And not having the presence of God, we have the presence of, even if you don't have God in your life, even if you don't even believe in God, at least we have him on earth, when it's so different when you're there. It looked like it was just so big, and it was decrepit, and like each end, like it would go like that, and each end would have spikes. It was like I didn't have to move my head to look. My soul was so much more sensitive, because now, the human canvas is, what's covering our soul. And the thing is when I was down there, my soul felt so much more sensitive. And it was from there that I looked through. It was like I didn't walk towards the gates. But I could see through the gates. It was like a lake. It was like a lake of fire, but it was like a big pit. A big, huge pit of like fire. However, it was like I couldn't see the flames. I just saw the shimmering light, because the shimmering light looked as if like the pit was so deep that you couldn't see the flames. It was just, I had no idea how deep it would be. Even if you don't even believe in God, your soul will know. Your soul will know that you're in hell. And I was in hell. It was then I started looking down, because I was stuck. I felt like I was in quicksand. So I started looking around, and I started noticing like it was like waves of like clay. It was like pink, like a salmon colored clay. I felt like I was in like the core of the earth or something, because I felt like there was just absolutely no way you could get out. And it's on top of the fear, on top of the hopelessness, on top of feeling alone, on top of feeling stuck, my mind all of a sudden started replaying my life. Replaying every sin that I have done. You relive it constantly, and it's so loud. You relive the feelings, your feelings. And the one that stuck in my mind the most was my mama. That's why I call her my mom. She's my mama. And my mama she's a prayer warrior. And she's been praying for me all these years to get out of this lifestyle and to get away from drugs. And it was like when I was in hell, I could hear her. Oh, Lisa, I wish you would listen and just come back to Jesus. And that's when all of a sudden I said, I wish I would have listened. And all of a sudden my body set on fire, my soul set on fire. And when my soul set on fire, it was so much hotter, because I used to have problems like cutting and burning myself because I hated myself. I know burns and stuff, and there is nothing like your soul being on fire. It hurts so bad. Like it's not, you can't even explain it. You can't even explain it. There is no way to explain the torture. Like I could hear myself screaming in my head. The thoughts were like if you put some headphones on or whatever in your ears and you were to like scream as loud as you can, it's like a billion times louder than that is what your thoughts. You're alone in your thoughts. You're alone in your sins. It's replaying over and over, on top of fear, on top of hopelessness, on top of fire, hotter than you can ever imagine. I wouldn't wish hell on my worst enemy. And that's what I'm trying. That's the whole reason why I'm trying to tell this world. Is because there is truly a hell. And it's so horrible. And I don't want anyone to go if you don't believe in God. Oh, please ask Jesus into your heart and save you. If you do know God, oh, repent right now. Ask for forgiveness. You never know when you're gonna die. You never know when Jesus is gonna come. You never know. And it was then it got hotter and hotter and hotter, and I like my teeth were just gnashing. They were gnashing, and I could feel like my teeth just breaking over and over. And your jaw's locked, and you're screaming in your mind. There's no water. There's no water. You feel as if your mouth is dry or your soul's dry. Your soul's so dry. If only I just had a drop of water. If only I just had a drop of water on my tongue, I would feel some kind of relief. It was then that all of a sudden the screaming continued. There's just constant crying, constant misery. You think about the time you've cried, like the worst pain you've ever felt in your heart, like emotional pain. You're crying and heaving, a billion times worse. When I say a billion times worse, I really mean it's a billion times worse than any negative thing. Every negative thing you've ever felt in your whole life, you will feel in hell. And you will feel it a billion times, and you will feel it forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. As I was screaming, as I was gnashing my teeth, as I was wishing, the fear, the hope, hopelessness, everything, all of a sudden, I was just like, Jesus, 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 help me, Jesus. Jesus, save me. As I cried out to Jesus, immediately I was ripped from those flames, and all of a sudden I was in an ambulance, still felt on fire, and I was screaming in the ambulance. I looked and I saw a paramedic. Didn't really know where I was at or what was going on. I was very confused, but I saw the kindness in her eyes and realized all of a sudden, wait a minute, I'm not in hell anymore. She was like, you're not on fire. She was like, you're not on fire. And she was like, you're okay, honey. And I was like, please, 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 I don't want to go back there. Jesus, please, don't let me go back there. Jesus, please, forgive me of all my sins. Jesus, I don't want to go back there. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. The look on her face, if I could have, like, if I could really, like, it was like a, like her eyes are really big, and it was kind of like she's just staring at me like, like I don't know if she's ever seen anything like that before. But the reason why, you know, I've got to tell you, the reason why I am speaking about my testimony is because I am a living, walking, breathing testimony of God's amazing grace, redemption. He has delivered me completely of drugs and alcohol for over 2 years now. After this happened in 2017, I was like, never did heroin again. But I was still shedding off one by one the drugs, because I was taking so many drugs, each letting down. The Lord was helping me with each drug, putting down each drug. So it was like it's a transformation. It was like, you know, I feel the Holy Spirit, you know, just, okay, it's time to put that away. And I'm like, oh, what do you know I want? No, it's time to put it away. Okay. And you love Jesus so much for what he did for you, that you just want to do whatever you can for him. So you're like, okay, Jesus, I will. I have a relationship today with Jesus Christ. You know, I didn't transform overnight after that experience. I had a lot of near-death experiences, and the Lord saved me. He saved me from it all. And as far as the Lord has delivered me, like literally take away all same-sex attraction, like desires away,
you know, I always
since
wanted
2017.
to be the best.
It was as if he was just,
You know,
I
I
was
always wanted to be
shedding
God.
off the old me, like a cocoon.
This is real talk. It's Lil B. Yeah. My new name is Space God. Ice cream paint job. Only come out in the dim lights. Vampire shouts out to AE. I'm riding in that 6-0. Move fast, stick slow. Think fast, talk slow. Dude try to play me. Leaving with his bitch broke. Sorry for the cuss words. Fuck that. Curse mode. Bruh did things. Should've been in the hearse for. Now I'm spitting rap shit. Gave me something to live for. Hit him with the P9. Better make his ribs show. Rap game is too fake. Real niggas lay low. Word around town that you living with a halo. Bet I got killers putting cash on Halo. No Xbox, shouts out to 2, baby. Free 2, baby. Free Rocky, bitch.
Either you're living in a lifestyle that you want to be in. God delivered me from that. I don't have any desire for women at all. To me, they all are like sisters, you know, it's a sisterly love. It's completely different. At one point, I was like, okay, I don't want women anymore. It's like, it's
reckless. Hands around your neck like a necklace. Leave him screwed and chop, have him thinking he in Texas. Nigga. You know what I mean? The mind is so complex when you're base. 32 levels. Welcome to my world. Like I said, I've been ready, and it feels good to be here now. Finally you realize who's the rawest rapper. Lil B. Just cause you a rich rapper don't really mean shit. I come to your crib and clear that whole bitch out, and then blow the switch out. My mouth put the stick out. I can't be high and robbing pussies with my dick out. I guess I'ma show off, take my raincoat off. I'm so wet that a pussy get mad at me. Switch cars, new colors, call it raspberry. Got my own website with the .com. Take it out the bag, over stove like Ty Rhymin'. I don't sell coke, my niggas looked out for me. They ain't wanna let me fall off the balcony. That's like losing Mike Vick on the Falcon team. We a Falcon team, but I'm the team leader. I'm past you guys, I'm in the 2-seater. And what's wrong with you? This is hip hop. This that old 9 shit. I call it bass world. Bass world. I said I call call it Bass World. You know what I mean? So just to tell you, it's a wrap. To anybody that thought they had it, you need to think again. Throw your hands up, it's Lil B for Lil Boss. I need all the bass energy I can. Yeah, is this what you really want? You got me in the flesh now. No, I'm not stressed out. I'm God, I'm the best out. Rap transparent, my see-through glasses incoherent. And no, I'm not staring. I just see through you. And from your heartbeat, you were soft in the middle. I'm real on the outside, solid in the inside. Bitch, it's the west side. Chop in the trunk, leave them soaked like a wet slide. It's apartheid, rap game is my shit. I'm so sick, I'm feeling so nauseous. Somebody tell the earth I'm the best now. Somebody tell the ocean I'm the best out. Somebody tell the trees I'm here now. Somebody tell the world I'm based now. See me in outer space, I'm out of reach today. Celebrate for me, I'm based for life. This is celebration, bitch. Slow boys. Dog, I come body. A snitch's body. Anything you want, we smoke. 10 robberies, court cases.
To realize
People don't
how
realize this,
easy
but
that was. That's all I needed to do was say, Jesus, save me. Anyone who knows me knows that love being alive. I've got the joy of the Lord. God is my strength. I just hope my story of what God has done for me will help give you hope. And if you're feeling suicidal right now, ask Jesus to save you. I've been there. And if you're crying with me right now, your prayers are being heard. I hope whoever's watching this really see just how good my Jesus is.
Lil B, Bass God. King of rap, I could bet my money on that. Can't face the facts that a young guy killing shit. Give me another shot and I'ma come with my mask on. Seen a lot of growth since I came with the Van song. Now it's 09 and I'm running with the bass guy. Fire in my eyes, mix my soul with the napalm. Mix and master, all I need is Dro and one mic, one pad, one pen, iPod, dim lights. Feeling like a plane when it's up and it's in flight. Dressing every day like I'm dead with the pinstripe. There's few things that show I'm the raw. Spend the cash every day, so I'm balding like Spalding. Want beef, Block 6 had you balding like Baldwin. Your favorite rapper out, I'ma lay him in the coffin. No talking when I'm talking, cause his legend pay attention. Only time I sat in class is when I'm serving at detention. I fuck with Soulja Boy. Get money, nigga. Every time I see rappers, all I'm thinking I'ma get them. In the booth, in the streets, I've been known to tear and rip them. 15 and 16, I was breaking down the system. Nobody could tell me nothing. I was living off my system, had fucked up. I thought it would be cool to go to prison, watching Hot Boys on BT, getting all these women. So I got my gold grill because I'm thugged out with them. B10 they cool. The rap game is slow, and it just ain't cool. Always jocking on my styling, just ain't you. Only time I feel you is if a bass boy do, because I'm a rap god and a bass boy too. I can listen to the hate and put the volume on mute, so the only thing I hear is the horses in the coupe, and when the roof go down, it remind me of my chick getting money off the floor because I'm trapping like a bitch, like Gucci Man said, but it's Rich Nigga Click, and my name's Lil B. You can call me king of rap, and I done did a few things, and I never going back. Mirror, mirror on the wall, shit, I'm asking who the man is. Lil B for Lil Boss, I'm praying to my canvas. I deserve the crown because I'm speaking for the masses, and I'm in the weed, I'm getting chiefy like Kansas. Word to the wise, you should fear the competition, cause I'm only vet, that's a bass guy spitting. And you ain't in the game till you make 1,000 songs, and you dying for this rap, cause the only thing you love, birth of rap. Birth of rap.
Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert M. Pirsig. Copyright 1974 by Robert M. Pirsig. This recording of the full-length reading of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance was published by arrangement with Audio Renaissance Tapes and was produced in 1997 by Books on Tape Incorporated, which holds the copyright thereto. Neither this recording, nor any part thereof, may be reproduced or used for any purpose without prior written authority from Books on Tape Incorporated. This book is read by Michael Kramer. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert M. Pirsig. This book consists of 4 parts in 32 chapters and is 380 pages long. The following material appears in the dust jacket of the book. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. The extraordinary story of a man's quest for truth. It will change the way you think and feel about your life. Dedication. For my family. Special thanks should go to Stuart Cohen, who provided an office to write in, and Mrs. Abigail Kenyon for critical help with the early chapters. Author's note: what follows is based on actual occurrences. Although much has been changed for rhetorical purposes, it must be regarded in its essence as fact. However, it should in no way be associated with that great body of factual information relating to orthodox Zen Buddhist practice. It's not very factual on motorcycles either. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And what is good, Phaedrus? And what is not good? Need we ask anyone to tell us these things? Part 1. Chapter 1. I can see by my watch, without taking my hand from the left grip of the cycle, that it is 8:30 in the morning. The wind, even at 60 miles an hour, is warm and humid. When it's this hot and muggy at 8:30, I'm wondering what it's going to be like in the afternoon. In the wind are pungent odors from the marshes by the road. we are in an area of the Central Plains filled with thousands of duck hunting sloughs, heading northwest from Minneapolis toward the Dakotas. This highway is an old concrete two-laner that hasn't had much traffic since a four-laner went in parallel to it several years ago. When we pass a marsh, the air suddenly becomes cooler. Then, when we are past, it suddenly warms up again. I'm happy to be riding back into this country. It is a kind of nowhere, famous for nothing at all, and has an appeal because of just that. Tensions disappear along old roads like this. We bump along the beat-up concrete between the cattails and stretches of meadow, and then more cattails and marsh grass. Here and there is a stretch of open water, and if you look closely, you can see wild ducks at the edge of the cattails. And turtles. There's a red-winged blackbird. I whack Chris's knee and point to it. "What?" he hollers. "Blackbird." He says something I don't hear. "What?" I holler back. He grabs the back of my helmet and hollers up. "I've seen lots of those, Dad." "Oh," I holler back. Then I nod. At age 11, you don't get very impressed with red-winged blackbirds. You have to get older for that. For me, this is all mixed with memories that he doesn't have. Cold mornings long ago when the marsh grass had turned brown and cattails were waving in the northwest wind. The pungent smell then was from muck stirred up by hip boots, while we were getting in position for the sun to come up and the duck season to open. Or winters when the sloughs were frozen over and dead, and I could walk across the ice and snow between the dead cattails and see nothing but gray skies and dead things and cold. The blackbirds were gone then. But now, in July, they're back and everything is at its alivest. And every foot of these sloughs is humming and cricking and buzzing and chirping. A whole community of millions of living things living out their lives in a kind of benign continuum. You see things vacationing on a motorcycle in a way that is completely different from any other. In a car, you're always in a compartment, and because you're used to it, you don't realize that through that car window, everything you see is just more TV. You're a passive observer, and it is all moving by you boringly in a frame. On a cycle, the frame is gone. You're completely in contact with it all. You're in the scene, not just watching it anymore, and the sense of presence is overwhelming. That concrete whizzing by 5 inches below your foot is the real thing, the same stuff you walk on. It's right there, so blurred you can't focus on it, yet you can put your foot down and touch it any time. And the whole thing, the whole experience, is never removed from immediate consciousness. Chris and I are traveling to Montana with some friends riding up ahead, and maybe headed farther than that. Plans are deliberately indefinite, more to travel than to arrive anywhere. We are just vacationing. Secondary roads are preferred. Paved county roads are the best, state highways are next. Freeways are the worst. We want to make good time, but for us now, this is measured with emphasis on good rather than time. And when you make that shift in emphasis, the whole approach changes. Twisting hilly roads are long in terms of seconds, but are much more enjoyable on a cycle, where you bank into turns and don't get swung from side to side in any compartment. Roads with little traffic are more enjoyable, as well as safer. Roads free of drive-ins and billboards are better. Roads where groves and meadows and orchards and lawns come almost to the shoulder. Where kids wave to you when you ride by, where people look from their porches to see who it is, where when you stop to ask directions or information, the answer tends to be longer than you want rather than short. Where people ask where you're from and how long you've been riding. It was some years ago that my wife and I and our friends first began to catch on to these roads. We took them once in a while for variety or for a shortcut to another main highway. And each time the scenery was grand, and we left the road with a feeling of relaxation and enjoyment. We did this time after time before realizing what should have been obvious. These roads are truly different from the main ones. The whole pace of life and personality of the people who live along them are different. They're not going anywhere. They're not too busy to be courteous. The here-ness and now-ness of things is something they know all about. It's the others, the ones who moved to the cities years ago, and their lost offspring, who have all but forgotten it. The discovery was a real find. I've wondered why it took us so long to catch on. We saw it, and yet we didn't see it. Or rather, we were trained not to see it. Conned, perhaps, into thinking that the real action was metropolitan, and all this was just boring hinterland. It was a puzzling thing. The truth knocks on the door and you say, "Go away, I'm looking for the truth." And so it goes away. Puzzling. But once we caught on, of course, nothing could keep us off these roads, weekends, evenings, vacations. We have become real secondary road motorcycle buffs, and found there are things you learn as you go. We have learned how to spot the good ones on a map, for example. If the line wiggles, that's good. That means hills. If it appears to be the main route from a town to a city, that's bad. The best ones always connect nowhere with nowhere, and have an alternate that gets you there quicker. If you are going northeast from a large town, you never go straight out of town for any long distance. You go out, and then you start jogging north, then east, then north again, and soon you are on a secondary route that only the local people use. The main skill is to keep from getting lost. Since the roads are used only by local people who know them by sight, nobody complains if the junctions aren't posted, and often they aren't. When they are, it's usually a small sign hiding unobtrusively in the weeds, and that's all. County road sign makers seldom tell you twice. If you miss that sign in the weeds, that's your problem, not theirs. Moreover, you discover that the highway maps are often inaccurate about county roads. And from time to time, you find your county road takes you onto a two-rudder, and then a single rudder, and then into a pasture and stops. Or else it takes you into some farmer's backyard. So we navigate mostly by dead reckoning and deduction from what clues we find. I keep a compass in one pocket for overcast days when the sun doesn't show directions, and have the map mounted in a special carrier on top of the gas tank, where I can keep track of miles from the last junction and know what to look for. With those tools and a lack of pressure to get somewhere, it works out fine. And we just about have America all to ourselves. On Labor Day and Memorial Day weekends, we travel for miles on these roads without seeing another vehicle, then cross a federal highway and look at cars strung bumper to bumper to the horizon. Scowling faces inside, kids crying in the back seat. I keep wishing there were some way to tell them something, but they scowl and appear to be in a hurry, and there isn't. I have seen these marshes 1,000 times, yet each time they're new. It's wrong to call them benign. You could just as well call them cruel and senseless. They are all of these things, but the reality of them overwhelms halfway conceptions. There. A huge flock of red